Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to today's Caffeine for the Soul. And I wanted to share just a simple distinction. I'm calling it a simple distinction to end procrastination, but I think it does more than that. I think it speaks to a larger distinction between the way that we have learned habitually to try and get ourselves to move forward in our lives, and the thing that actually works. It turns out they're not only not the same thing, they're almost two opposite directions. And it's, I've been working in, we could call it self-help, personal development, personal growth, business development, business growth, spiritual growth, that arena for most of my adult life. And I've noticed that the vast majority of teachings and modalities are built around the idea that the way to move forward is to figure out why you haven't moved forward. And then once you figure out what the problem is, you can solve the problem, and then you'll move forward. And in fact, that was how I, early in my work, used to do it. It would be like, well, what do you want? What stops you? Let's take care of what stops you, and then you can move forward. And over the last sort of, 5 years, as I've dipped in and out of more traditional modalities in comparison to the work that I've been doing in the last 18 years in the Inside Out Understanding, I've realized that without noticing it, I've just naturally gravitated towards a more impactful approach to moving things forward. And in it, so here's the simplest version of the distinction. Think about something where you have been procrastinating. You just haven't done what you think you should do, what you say you want to do, what you know you're supposed to do. And I want you to ask yourself this question: why haven't I done it? And I want you to just notice what kind of answers come. Let's say that maybe it's something as simple like, paying, doing your taxes. You're eventually going to do it, but why haven't I done it yet? I mean, I know it's coming. Well, what is it? Oh, it's, I can't be bothered, and I don't like it, and it's not fair, and I shouldn't have to, and I always do this. I'm just kind of like this. I'm just lazy. I'm not, I should be more. And while your particular answers may be different, I'd be pretty shocked if they're not some version of why you suck and why you should be different. And that's just naturally kind of what comes of trying to figure out what's wrong and why you haven't done something yet. Now, choose the exact same thing. We'll stick with our little example of getting your taxes done and go, how do I get my taxes done this week? How could I? What would be a fun way of getting my taxes done? So notice what comes with your example. Your example probably isn't taxes. Like, well, how do I get them done? Well, it's a lot to even think about taking them all on at once, but I could just get a copy of one of those pieces of tax software. That would be a good start. And while I'm doing that, I can gather up. I think I know where I keep most of my receipts from the year. Okay, well, I guess what I could do, and before you know it, you're halfway to the job being done without ever having figured out for a second why you didn't do it right up until the moment that you started. And that same simple shift, that same simple distinction, that same simple approach to not trying to figure out what's wrong and fixing it, but just getting clear on what you want to get done and doing it, will move you forward in almost any arena. The French playwright Jacques Prévert had an expression that I used to love back in my acting days. And he would say the best way to prepare for something is to do it. And we forget that we can just start now. It doesn't matter if we think we should have started 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 3 years ago, 6 years ago. I was sharing a story recently of a student on one of our programs. And she was a very successful woman in her life. And she came to this understanding in her 70s. And it really did change her life. And one of the younger students said to her, and I don't think they were trying to be rude, they were just genuinely curious, like, gosh, don't you wish you had figured this out before you were in your 70s? And this woman was great. She didn't blink an eye. She said, no, I'm just glad I figured it out before I was in my 80s. Right? We just sort of think we need to know why something isn't happening or we're not doing something. But the truth is, you don't need to know. It's enough to start. Take the first step, no more, no less, and the next will not only be revealed, it'll begin to happen almost without your trying. And before you know it, you have a momentum moving forward. And once your momentum is moving forward, everything kind of comes along for the ride, like a snowball gathering snow as it moves down the hill and becoming almost an avalanche of effortless impact in the world. And so the next time you're feeling stuck on something, that's the invitation. Instead of asking yourself, well, why am I stuck? And what am I doing? And what is it? And, why aren't I doing this? Just put all that down and just ask yourself a variation of, well, how do I start now? How could I get this done? How would I love, what would be a fun way of doing this? And see what happens. Now, if you want to learn more about impact, we have a program called the Impact Academy. And if you go to michaelneill.org, you'll find it. And it's a membership for anyone who wants to make more of an impact as a leader, as a coach, as a helper, as a teacher, in whatever it is you do. If you want to make more of a difference with others, I invite you to check out the Impact Academy at michaelneill.org. Have fun, learn heaps, happy exploring, and I'll talk with you soon.